hustle and bustle of city life can be a great way to recharge your batteries and get back to feeling 100%. Visiting the great outdoors, though, can hold some dire and sometimes even sinister outcomes. These subscribers share their creepiest allegedly true experiences while hiking, camping, just about anything there is to do in the woods. If you have a story you'd like to share, be sure to send it in at swampdweller.net or the email that you can find in the description down below. Let's get into these stories. Years ago, in the early 2000s, I was at a summer camp as a counselor in upstate New York, Camp Olmsted. It was a sleepaway camp and we took care of kids there from like 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. The activities of the day were split into roughly 50-minute blocks, all except for one. This activity was about 2 hours put together, and it had happened about once or twice a week. It was the Storm King mountain climb. Now, it wasn't a grab a rock and climb style mountain. It was a walk a path for a little while, yeah, you're climbing a mountain style mountain. Anyway, 2 hours was never enough time to get to the top. We always had to turn back at the hour and change mark. You try taking a bunch of inner city kids on a hike to see how far you can go before they start wheezing, screaming bloody murder. Anyway, this particular day, I had some free time after the climb. So I told my partner to take the kids back down. I was going to continue the rest of the climb by myself. I'd be back in an hour. This had always been the plan. So I had the groundskeeper assistant, who was around my age, we were about 19, come with me so I could have a climbing buddy. Anyway, 45 minutes later, we had made it to the top. Kinda lost track of the path along the way, but we made it. That was all that mattered. I actually saw a bald eagle flying over, saw some town that was crazy far away. It freaked me out how high we were, but the view made it all worth it. Anyway, it was time to get down. We didn't remember which way we came, so we just went in the general direction we felt we came, until we saw the path again. To say, we never saw the path. Of course, our 19-year-old minds figured if we kept going down, we'll eventually get off the mountain. Well, it turns out shit gets real once you get off the path. Thorns everywhere, animals wandering around. At some point, ashes started swarming around our heads and refused to leave. And it turns out, our plan had some kinks. You see, after a while, the hills became very steep, and we resorted to sliding on our butts as a method of travel. Walking just became too dangerous. We nearly fell and tumbled quite a few times. Anyway, I started doing some last action hero slide. I was going way too fast. At the last minute, I grabbed a mini tree before I went off over the horizon. We went towards it because we thought it was yet another steep hill. And we were right, a 90-degree angle steep. I nearly fell off. It looked like a 5-story drop. It was probably 5 stories to the treetops. Who knows how far it actually was. So my buddy is freaking out for some reason. I can't explain. I wasn't even scared. I was more worried that we were late as hell. We were going to get in trouble. Going to get fired. I didn't want to get fired because I loved this job. I was basically getting paid to play with the kids and I liked all my coworkers. At this point, we were about 20 to 30 minutes late and I was banking on the head counselor not noticing. I planned on just casually walking back to my group and acting like nothing was wrong. My buddy, on the other hand, was upset as he watches Toonami, Today Frieza certified Goku. Thought this might have been the episode where he goes Super Saiyan. He was obviously freaking out, and that was the cut and dry gallows humor part of it. Anyway, after much butt sliding, dead ends, and improvising, finally saw a road. We celebrated, got on it, and began randomly walking in a direction. Eventually on a bike, some stereotypical biker-looking dude with an American flag bandana, leather jacket, shades, blonde facial hair, and a girl in the back drove by. They looked about in their 40s. It was a long road, so I had more than enough time to flag them down. I asked him where Camp Olmsted was. He said it was about 2 miles in the direction we were going. We thanked him, continued on our way, and had the bright idea to put the dirt in our hair, because maybe that would give us some sympathy points, and we wouldn't be fired. At this point, our clothes are beyond filthy. I had the bright idea to wear white clothes that day. We have gnats swarming around our hair. Now we have dirt in there as well. After some light jogging, we eventually make it back. The groundskeeper goes back to the post, and I creep back to my cabin, tell my partner the adventure. I asked him if the head counselor had asked about me, and he said nah, and I thought I got away with it scot-free. So as I began to recall the highlights of it, guess who appears? The counselor, with a huge backpack complete with a grappling hook wrapped around his chest. Literally a grappling hook. I've never in my life seen a grappling hook, and I still haven't to this day. Where the heck were you, son? He said sternly. It was a Christian summer camp, and I had never heard this guy use profanity before. My partner immediately disappeared out of the room. It was like he had no frames of animation. His upper body was just moving towards the door without movement. I got off lightly, though. The head counselor was a friend of the family, who was the main reason I got the job. The talk was mainly about how I made a stupid decision. If I had died, he'd have to tell my family, etc. At the end of the day, I wasn't fired, got to the top of the mountain, and have this awesome story to tell people. Earlier this summer, I sent you a story of mine that happened about 3 years ago during my senior year. This is an update on what happened. So, about 3 years ago, I went hiking by myself and stopped at a campground that not a lot of people travel to, mainly because it's a little over 10 miles into the mountains. The trail is being consumed by forest each year. Well, anyways, when I got to the campground, it was that woman calling me into the forest, and a little bit later, a screech happened. I told myself that I would never go back, but nearly 3 years later, I decided that I needed answers. So after the story was featured on your channel, I was looking through the comments. Someone said that the creature was likely a Wendigo or a skinwalker, so I've been reading up about them, and I gathered the courage to go back to the location that my experience happened. This time, I brought a friend with me, and I came better equipped. So on October 13th, 2018, my friend and I started our trek through the windy path, overgrown brush and rocky trails to a small location by the small lake mountains. This time we made sure we got the location during the day. I packed a journal, a rifle, a handgun, and other items for hiking. Got there, I gathered my bearings to the spot where the lady was calling me at. When I got there, I noticed there was a small trail that branched off from the spot that led to the forest. I've only known about one trail that we came in on. That was supposed to be the only trail. The good thing about this trail is it didn't even have connect to the site. It just randomly started in the forest. At noon, my friend and I followed the trail for about 3/4 of a mile and led into the small valley. With the forest being very thick and the trees covering most of the light, the farther we traveled into the forest, the darker it got. We finally walked around a hill. Reaching at the end of the trail was an old mine that had been caved in. I decided to get a closer look, so I turned my flashlight and pointed my handgun in the same direction. Every step I took towards the black abyss, my heart started to beat louder and faster to the point where my hand was shaking. Looking inside the mine was very dark and hard to see anything. The thing I could see was a couple of barrels and then a steep incline that looked like it went on forever. The sound of water dripping was the noise I could hear coming inside the mine. The smell was something I'd never forget. It was an odor that I never wanted to smell again. It was the same odor from 3 years ago, before that thing showed up. I feel like we walked up to the creature's home, and there was no entrance because it was caved in. I quickly took a couple steps back, and my friends called my name and insisted we head back toward the site. Make the walk back. At this time, it started to get dark, and it's one of those chilly October nights with a breeze and just a small amount of fog like the lake. After hanging out for a couple of hours, my friends started to get a fire going, dinner, watched the sun slowly disappear behind the mountains, and my stomach started to drop every minute we lost light, just worrying on what might happen tonight. I took shifts staying up, waiting for the creature to return. I took the first shift. I stayed up from 10 to midnight. After those 2 hours just scanning and staring at the location where the lady called for help, the only thing I really found was some elk across the pond. Other than that, nothing happened. Once my shift was up, my friend took over. I fell into a deep sleep when I was woken by a screech echoing the mountain. I jumped up and reached for my rifle, and I looked at my friend. Pure terror was on his face. It scared me. So I woke up thinking he saw the thing. He didn't. He kept looking around trying to find the source. It was hard to pin. Echoing. I get up, waited for 15 minutes, not saying anything to each other, just looking and waiting. My friend finally breaks the silence. Did you hear that? First time you were... Then I was interrupted by a voice in the distance. It was a woman's voice. This time, called my name out. Don't know how it knew my name. Thinking about it, I bet it heard my friend call my name at the mine or something. I just stood in shock. My friend looks over at me. It's your freaking name. He turns as if he's gonna talk to it. Quickly grabbed his arm and whispered to him, "Don't say anything to it. You have to keep her cool." Right after that, I hear the noise coming to my left. The trail is. I shine the flashlight there. My friend decides to take a shot in that direction. Turns out the creature wasn't even in the spot. Behind us, near the lake, side of the forest, I hear scraping, branches and brushes moving away from us. Nothing else happened that night, but we stayed up until dawn and packed up our gear. Before leaving, I wanted to go out to the mine one last time. When I got there, it was different. A couple boulders that were keeping the mine closed fell off, and a tiny entrance that somebody could squeeze through if they were small. Didn't want to get too close or even go into the mine, but just kept my distance. I looked on the ground and found a print, nothing like I've ever seen. It had a palm print of a large human with a claw point there. The prints were nothing like I'd ever seen in my life. Once I was done looking at the print, my friend and I headed back home. I came back and got my closure. I would never go back to that location. Taking the time to listen to my experience. Just to preface this story, it is 100% true, and I would try to be as detailed as possible as this happened about 8 years ago. To give some background, I am a 5'10" tall, 245-pound football player. So on with the story. This encounter happened on the North Canadian River off of I-40 in Oklahoma, the early spring of 2011. To describe the location, the part of the river we camped at was at the bridge on a county road that allowed access via narrow and steep pass down the river. At this time of year, the river was very low. You could walk across the sandbars in the river, in some of the places. My friend Gabe and I lived roughly 5 miles apart, and in between our houses was the North Canadian River. So we probably had some comfort or self-confidence in the fact that home was just a few short minute drive away. We had decided, while we were in school, that day to camp down at the river. So he came after school, and we packed up my Mazda Miata with a few things we would need to spend the night, and this list of things was a few cheap tarps, some blankets, sleeping bags, an axe, and my trusty hunting knife. We arrived at about 5 in the afternoon, so we had a few hours of light left to set up camp, which mostly went off without a hitch. I parked the car at the road, and we packed our gear down the steep pass and a couple 100 yards down the riverbank. The river seemed normal. It did not seem anything overly concerning, just driftwood, some bullet casings, and empty shotgun shells. This type of thing was typical, as people often fire their shotgun in the river. But this didn't set off any alarms. It had just started to get dark, and I had gathered up a vast amount of firewood, and Gabe had gotten the tarp laid over the sand. Forecast for clear skies, and we look forward to a fun night shooting the ship and with a campfire. Unfortunately, while we were setting up our camp, I ended up slicing the top of my hand with the hunting knife, which was just a slight hindrance, and I did what any high school kid would do. I ripped off a sleeve and covered my wound. Right before dark, I saw a mid-sized red pickup truck pull down the small side river on the road opposite side of us. It was a mid-sized pickup truck. It was interesting. It was driving slowly on the opposite side about 400 to 500 yards. I could hear them talking loudly, but we shortly could not hear what they were doing. Eventually, we could see them coming back over, without the truck this time. They had fishing rods. So that put us even more at ease. Our primary concern being that they would start firing guns at us before seeing us there. Most of the night goes off without a hitch, and it had started to get a little chilly, so we ended up starting another fire above us on the bank of the river, so we know we had our little pallet set up on the bank of the floor, and a fire on the side of us. We were just setting up, settling down for the night, and about to fall asleep. We hear several of the men who had been nosily fishing up the river no longer there. We found this a bit odd, and started looking in their direction, assuming at this point it was about 11 at night and pitch black with a very thin crescent moon. Assuming they were leaving, we were a little surprised to see a headlamp pop in our direction. We both perked up a little bit at this, but stayed fairly calm and didn't move. We were close enough to our fires to be fully safe and illuminated, but our fires only lit up about 20 feet radius around us. Laying on our backs, still eyeing the light moving in our direction, still opposite side of the river, we see the light suddenly go out. We both noticeably tense up and look around a second for the light, wondering where the man had gone to. After a couple of minutes, we relaxed there, and we were still kind of creeped out, but we tried to shrug it off as something weird. And before I know it, out of my peripheral vision, I see movement. Quickly stood up before really thinking. I let out a hey, the guy, and I grabbed my knife that was next to me. To my left is a middle-aged man with a scruffy beard and coveralls. Not sure if it was the slight sound of the river that muffled his footsteps that made me unaware of his approach, or the fact that he had turned off his headlamp to make his way over to us. But I was a little unnerved. His angle of approach was even more alarming. It was almost as if he wanted to come right up behind me. So, here's this two 17-year-old high school students with a rough-looking 40-year-old something man that just tried to sneak up on us. After my initial hey, and the me being the bigger of the two of us, he says hello back and takes one more step towards us before he stops. Thinking he must have seen the knife I was holding on the opposite side of myself, he raised his hands a little and apologized for sneaking up on us. He explains that he didn't want to disturb us if we were asleep. Gabe and I get this sick feeling in our stomach. I ask why he turned his headlamp off halfway over to us, and he tells me the battery died. He stays put in his place with a disappointed look on his face and asks us if we have a doobie we would sell him. We politely tell him no. Then he turns on his headlamp and walks back to his fishing buddy about 30 minutes away. After a while, we hear them packing up and we see their truck headlights turn on and leave. I'm not sure if the men had any intention worse than getting high that night, but I believe they did. I'm not sure if it was to rob us or kill us, or some deliverance type stuff. Either way, I don't think they were good. Situations like this have made me overly paranoid at times, but at least I am even more hyper-vigilant of my surroundings. This happened shortly after moving to Florida. I'm originally from Texas. The idea of moving to this place I had only heard was for alligators and the elderly as well was less than imaginable. At the time, I was 20 years old, 5'3" and around 160 pounds with a beautifully bright-eyed, 1.5-year-old son tagging at my heels wherever I went. I was never the type to just stay home all day and laze around. We were always on the move and having our own little adventures. This being said, would look up a nice park to take a trip to. I loved walking to the nature trails with my jogger stroller, and my son seemed to enjoy it too. On this particular Saturday morning, I found a park relatively close to our home, just a few miles away with nice trails and even a toddler's playground. We bundled up and headed out. Driving into the park, it was smaller than I expected. I'd assumed more people would be there already given the hour. A few cars littered the parking lot with a large tan van, straight out of the 90s, that stood out to me. Okay, no big deal. I surveyed a little more and noticed an elderly man that looked like a granddaughter with him. I couldn't very well see her as she was sitting on the opposite side of the typical park table. I grabbed the stroller, my hiking bag, and headed for the trail according to the tracker on my phone. A few yards in, I caught up to another mother walking what seemed like two preteens and a younger child. She was nice and we shared some small talk along the way. When I heard some noise behind us and realized the couple sitting at the table was about a yard behind us, it seemed this trail was popular. Halfway through our walk, my son started to get fussy, as I could tell he had probably dropped his sippy cup at inches. I said goodbyes to our walking buddies and pulled the stroller off to the side. I helped my son reach his cup and grabbed him a snack, then reached into my bag to grab my water bottle and check the tracker. Soon, I had noticed the couple reaching our part of the trail, but they were taking their slow pace. It was odd. It seems like they were slowing down the closer they got to me. I looked back down at the stroller to make sure I wasn't blocking their path. Nope, plenty of room. Looking back, they were much closer. Like a few feet closer. Too close for my comfort, if I'm honest. I put my water back, put my hand on the stroller handle, turning around to head back into the trailhead. I started walking, only to have the two stop dead in their tracks in front of me. I could finally see them clearly. An older man with a dirty face but clean shaved, long gray hair, and a flannel shirt. The woman, I could now tell, looked around her mid-30s. She was wearing lipstick and had dyed blonde hair. It made the air feel funny and the hairs on my neck tingled. I smiled in a get the hell out of my way fashion and said, "Excuse me." The woman smiled with her teeth dirty. "Oh, sorry, are we in your way?" Her response cracked in her voice. The guy moved slightly from the side. A half-crooked smile now painted his face as he looked over to her. Screw this. I chose to off-road it. I pulled the stroller as far as I could off the side without getting stuck as I swiftly passed these. Only 2 steps passed and I just started running. Only 4 steps after that do I hear rustling happening behind me. A quick glance told me they had the same idea that were to brisk jog behind me. My eyes shifted forward, focusing on the trail as I reached into the stroller's handle cup and placed my hand on my tactical knife. Only a couple more yards until the trailhead. I didn't slow down until I reached asphalt. I was back in the parking lot and my run slowed to a jog as a familiar face peeked out from the back of her minivan. I had never been so happy to see a stranger. I redirected my path to her and waved, which in turn made the dynamic duo slow and redirect their path away from me. She smiled and waved at me a quick, "Hope you have a good day, see you later." And that was the end of our conversation. My heart sank as I looked at my car, only to be met with the same pair sitting at the park bench right between me and my car. Crap. Last resort, I reached for my phone with a slight surprise on my face, unlocked it and called my mom. "Hey Jess." "Hey Mom, how many people are coming for dinner tonight?" A slight pause. "What do you mean? Are you okay?" "No. How many people will be coming for dinner?" "4, including me and your dad. Where are you?" I was so happy that she knew what I was doing and played along to give me the answers. I was now near the park bench and I hoped my conversation with my mom was heard and possibly would be a deterrent. "Oh, okay, 6 people. I'm at such and such park. I should be home in 15 minutes. "I got it. Do you need me to call someone?" I could hear her relay things to my dad as he asked questions too. "No, I'm getting in my car. We'll just get it when I get home so you can go with me." At this point, I finally made it to my car, keys in hand. I quickly buckled up my son, popped the stroller in the back, and jumped in my seat, all while those strangers' eager eyes never left me. I wasn't even thinking of how fast I was going at the time. I reached the main road in probably record time, and frankly, I didn't care. I explained everything to my mom, who took fair time to calm me down as well. She was worried about them following me, so I drove around for a bit before going home. Suddenly, the gated community I opted for when moving here seemed like the best decision I've made in a while. I hugged my son extra tight at bedtime and talked to my mom a little longer than normal. There is a hiking trail close to the school I go to. It's about 2 miles to the top with a beautiful view over the entire valley. My friends and I went up one Saturday. The sun was beginning to set right as we started the 2-mile walk down. Terrible timing, but we knew the trail. Everything is good. Creepy though, because it's getting dark and I'm paranoid to begin with. I'm not really paying attention, but I hear my friend say, "What's that?" I don't have a good eyesight, so I looked but didn't see anything. "It's a girl," my friend said. I was freaked out. It's 9 p.m. on a hiking trail that's not a single other person is on. As we get closer, I see that she's sitting on the ground in a pile of leaves with her knees to her chest. She's rocking back and forth in only a pink nightgown. It's February. My friends and I chalk it up to someone being on a terrible trip in the woods. Feeling bad since that happened to my friend once, we debated asking if she needed help. That was until my friend saw that she was cradling a knife in her lap. After that, I thought, I'm out of here. More freaked out, we picked up our pace, but still think the girl could just be tripping. We start joking, saying it must be a terrible trip in the woods at night to try to calm ourselves down. Then we see a man running frantically up the trail asking if we'd seen his daughter. This girl was about 20, not a little girl, although she was dressed like one. We say no, we haven't seen her, because we are freaked out, thinking we just saw a girl who escaped a kidnapper. As you can guess, we ran the rest of the way. Fortunately, we were parked there. There wasn't a single car in the parking lot. But we did call and report what we saw. They searched, but we never heard an update. We don't know what was happening in the woods that night. Don't know if I ever want to. There was no cell service until we got to our car, too. We saw the girl when we were about a mile from our car. It was almost pitch black. We had no way of being able to continue to watch her because it was too dark. We were also a group of 2 small female and a male, and nothing for self-defense, unless we were able to find something. Thanks for listening to these stories from the woods. If you have an experience from the woods or something different that you'd like to share if you haven't already, subscribe to never miss another scary story. If you are subscribed, click the notification bell and click that like button too. Thank you. You've probably seen this photo before. A trail cam photo showing a strange pale human creature. It was taken in 2010 by a user of a hunting message board. Could this be a Wendigo? You're watching Darkness Prevails, the best place to share your creepy stories with the world. Because this world is a strange one. Native American folklore is rich with mythology and creepy legends. One of the most notable is perhaps the legend of the Wendigo, a once-human creature that preys upon people. Even today, this creature is often sighted in the woods of America. So don't be too scared as I share these allegedly real Wendigo sightings with you. If you want to have your story in a future video, I'm looking for creepy stories from VRChat or Fortnite. Share your stories with me anytime at darknessprevalence.org/submit. Also, check out my free app at darknessprevalence.org/app to get all my content in one place. Now, are you ready for the main course? It could be you. Number 1. The Window Stalker. Submitted by Ethan. When I was little, I always loved the gorgeous scenery of my grandma's house. Going to her house was the one chance I got to escape my neighborhood. I love the large pine trees and beautiful oaks, but looks can be deceiving. After dark is when things take a sinister turn. Just some background information. My grandma lives in a house that is surrounded by thick forest. I found this weird considering my grandma grew up in Florida. The first event happened to my grandma, and it still gives me chills to this day. It was around 1 in the morning, and my grandma's parents were asleep. My grandma's cousin was staying over for a few days. It was late, so they just sat around and watched TV. My grandma's cousin was starting to doze off when they heard a noise, sort of screaming, yelping. It sounded like Satan himself was crying out in pain. "Did you hear that?" she said. Her cousin was now wide awake. They stared at the window forever. As quickly as the noise had come, it faded. They didn't get any sleep that night. The next part happened the following evening. My grandma was getting ready for bed with her cousin. As she walked over to her room, her cousin was standing there with her mouth wide open. My grandma walked in and screamed. Standing at the window was a pale face looking in at them. Its eyes were far too solid white to be a normal person, not to mention its sharp rows of jagged teeth. As they screamed, the creature moved away from the window. Her dad ran outside to find it. A few minutes later, he came back. It was very clear from his expression. He had seen something he couldn't understand. She later found out when her dad went outside, found hair and flesh on the side of the wall. Said it was like a person's, but not in a... I believe what they encountered was a Wendigo. Something that I wholly... The window was open. My grandma and cousin would not be alive right now. Number 2. The Wendigo Invites Himself. Submitted by Trisha W. I'd like to tell you a story. A story I wish I could say was pure fantasy, but it's not. It may sound crazy, but it's my true story. I live in Quebec in Canada. Ever since I was little, I've seen some strange things, but it didn't really bother me. I live my life like a normal person. Whatever mysterious things I've seen or heard, I didn't pay it much mind. Until last month. As of writing this, last month for me was last October. Something strange happened. It began with a nightmare. Most horrible nightmare I've ever had. My room was covered in blood. I heard a Latin chant. At least I could only guess it was Latin. It sounded like a prayer, and it wouldn't stop repeating over and over. I woke up in a cold sweat. I remember feeling so relieved to see my room was normal. I tried to forget the nightmare and to live my life normally. But the next night, I have another strange dream. This time, it was at a train station near my home, and I wasn't alone. There was an unknown person with me. I don't remember all of the dream. I knew he was a man. I remember those eyes, those cold, silver eyes. They glowed like a cat's eyes in light. The smell was like frankincense with a touch of jasmine. It was a bit intoxicating. I remember he said something to me.
Before I could hug him in the men's room, I saw that his face was just as traumatized as I've been. My aunt and uncle soon confronted us, asking us why we looked like that. I told them everything. I was completely honest as to the whole thing. Thought we were just playing on them. Sent us to eat and to bed. Unable to sleep, I asked my cousin if he was okay. over on my side. I closed my eyes and covered with it. Thus was birthed my open wounds and my anxiety. See it again, but that might be because we didn't go out looking. For The Wendigo and Birds, submitted by T.F. I was 20 years old. I was finally out of my parents' place to this old and affordable home. One day I spent some time packing my stuff. Over. I arrived and unpacked, cleaned up the dirty farmhouse, and found some stuff that belonged to the people who used to live there. It was nostalgic in a way, even though it wasn't my old stuff. And I remember smiling. I was going to be happy. 3 weeks after officially having settled into the place, I began hearing random voices at midnight. It would keep me up sometimes, not because it was loud, but because it was unsettling. One night, I got so fed up with it, grabbed my rifle and flashlight, wanted to find out what was making the noise and put a stop to it. Slowly, trying to be silent, I tiptoed around outside. I found nothing. Except for the scratches along the farmhouse, trash cans dumped over on the ground, trash inside scattered about. I was pissed. Freaking raccoons, I thought. A later day, at midnight again, I heard the noises once more. Right away this time, busted out the rifle and flashlight. I went around the farmhouse, but again, found nothing. I turned on my heel, just in case I'd catch a glimpse of whatever it may have been. Going back, I did turn in time to see something. It was a shadow. It wasn't a raccoon. It was small. It appeared to be a person. This fired me up. I had trespassers. Took my rifle and flashlight, began to run toward the trees. I was ready to catch the troublemaker. Stopped in this hole. I broke the tree line. Couldn't see. I could hear rustling noise. Occasional sound of nighttime animals. Just when I had given up, I was beginning to go back to the house. I heard a scream. Imagine what a woman would sound like if someone came up from behind, grabbed her, and put her into the truck. That's what it sounded like. Ill and desperate horror. There was a scuffle, too. And after it died down for a moment, I began to make my way toward the place. As I was walking towards it, I recall thinking it had been a couple of groups or something, fighting for territory, or even some type of... When I arrived on the scene, my guess wasn't even groups. Instead, I found was someone in the street, tall, hunkered down over something. First thing I noticed was how incredibly long its legs and arms were. I caught myself. Freaking claws. Either this person hadn't cut their nails in their entire lifetime. It wasn't a person. As my eyes continued to adjust into the nighttime light, I saw them. There were cuts and bruises all over the body. Apparently led to chewing sounds. It wasn't until then that I saw what was on the ground in front of it. There, still breathing, wasn't struggling. This thing had was eating the air alive. At first, I was so scared, I wanted to run. I shook my head, reminded myself that I was armed, that if I could take something like this down, it wasn't a person. It was some sort of internet phenomenon. Nationwide, or at the very least, I'd get this troublemaker off my property. As I aimed down the sights, ready to fire, I couldn't stop myself from trembling. I was scared, rightfully so, but I did my best to adjust to it. I aimed and pulled the trigger. Immediately, the beast screamed, the way that you rat-tail somebody and their body stiffens out like a balloon. I gasped, as I saw that at full height, this thing was 3 feet taller than I was, at least. Suddenly, its head snapped and was facing me. But, as ready as I was to run back to the house at full speed, it turned away from me and to limp back. Eventually, I lowered my rifle, thought to myself, what in the bloody hell was that? As the forest grew silent, the only sound that was the breathing of the poor bear. Some of it was scattered about on the ground. There was no way this thing was going to make it. Unable to move closer out of where I was, I took my rifle. I ended its misery. I jogged back inside, locked the doors. I stayed up all night, basically cuddling my rifle. Later on, I told my friend about my experience, what it looked like. My friend replied, with a quizzical look on his face. Heard of the legend? My eyebrow raised instinctively. What's a window? Leaned forward, began to answer my question. It's an old Native American legend. Supposedly, human taste the flesh of another. They risk attracting, possessed by the spirit. It's said that it turns them into something like something that's no longer human. It has an insatiable appetite, specifically human. Said, I gotta go. I got a plan or something, or get out of that house. I left right away, back to the farmhouse, wondering if I was going to see them. I was it still worth living out here? Number 5. Indigo Stalking. Submitted by Kaden. This is a succession of things that happened recently. I'm still having nightmares from it. It all started in December, January. I was walking home from school one day after getting off of our winter break. I heard the weirdest sounding noise ever. It was like a little girl crying, juxtaposed over the sound of a grown man grunting. So unsettled it, brushed it off and walked past her home. I got back to the house. I asked my dad if he had heard. He said he hadn't. Nothing else really happened until late. It was about 8. I began to hear things again. This time it was much closer to the house. It kind of spooked me, so I looked out the window. It was coming. Seen? Not from where I was. Next day, I was walking to school. I heard footsteps keeping pace with me. If I stopped, footsteps would stop a second after. So I knew it wasn't me, because it would take that second steps to stop. I did. It sounded like it was 2 legs. That's about all I could make out. Fast forward to that night. Both of my parents were gone as they were at business meetings, so I had to watch my siblings for the rest of the night. About the same time as the night before, I heard noise again. I dismissed it, because I didn't want my siblings to get scared. I know, they heard it as well. My brother came up to me, asked me, "What's that weird sound outside?" I quickly formulated a response. I replied, "I don't know, probably just a coyote or 2. And then, though he was young, he wasn't stupid. Don't think he believed. For 2 days, nothing happened. The day my parents got home is where I got really scared. It was a Saturday. I was an outdoor kid, so I often went outside to pass the time. It had snowed the night before, so my brother and I went into the woods. Wanted to see if our old fort had been knocked down by the elements. Got there. The place was completely destroyed. I'm talking branches and parts from our fort were stripped down and broken, and as it had been snowing 10 minutes before, the place was surrounded by hundreds of the size of both of my hands stacked together. snow was fresh, so were these footprints. We always brought baseball bats with us, using them as tools or walking sticks or for fun. That day, we held them up, just in case we needed to use them. Heard it. It was the weird noise again. The same one I'd been hearing all those nights. I gripped the baseball bat tightly, got in front of my little brother. He saw as I made that noise. He was tall, immediately made all my extremities go. It was a struggle just to continue to grasp at the baseball bat. His eyes were as black as the night. His legs were bent. His arms had human-like fingers, with nails that looked like they'd gone into a pencil sharpener. The thing seemed to hiss at us as it stepped forward, trying to be brave, and more stupid. I threw my baseball bat, trying to stun the creature. As soon as it struck it didn't even flinch. My brother and I turned, ran out of the woods crying. My brother wouldn't stop screaming. What was that? However, I couldn't and didn't answer. Ran home, told my brother not to tell my parents what we saw. Kept our eyes out in the woods, checking the forest at every minute, making sure that this fortress, our home, wasn't about to be. Luckily, we're out of the clear for the rest of the night, and for several days for that matter. Thought it was over. It had been weeks by then. I was beginning to repress that memory, blaming it on our own imaginations, now refusing to believe what we saw was real. Well, night after it got into my house. It was one night, staying up playing Call of Duty, when suddenly, it was a crash that came downstairs, followed by a heavy thump, thump, thumping. Immediately, turned off the TV and listened. Thump, thump, thump. I locked my bedroom door. I began to pray. I curled up into bed, staring at the locked door. Didn't hear anything for a very long time. Something disturbed. What was that? It said. My mind was thrown back, but my brother and I, running back to the house, I was silent. My brother kept screaming. Was that? What was that? I started crying, and silence. For the next 30 minutes, I heard it outside. Sing. Then just faded. Waited up until morning. I waited until my parents came to me, banging on it, asking me why it was locked. Ran to unlock it. I couldn't be happier to see my mom. Thankfully, nothing has happened since. I hope nothing will ever happen. Number 6. Wendigo Encounter. Submitted by Grand Shock Trooper. This is a really weird story. I know you'll think so. This is the only time in my life I've actually something this bizarre. Of course, I've heard about crap like this before. Never let myself believe an ounce of it. Never seen anything crazy myself. Well, it all happened weeks ago, which at the time of writing this was December of 2017. I lived in a town in northern Minnesota, on the city edge, and it's still pretty heavily populated.